Hi everyone, Paul here. So today I've come to a new area of the city and have a little walk around, and I thought you might like to come with me. So this is the metro station called Udelnaya. It's a Soviet one, but if you think it looks kind of nice and pristine, it's because it's just been closed for a year, having a renovation. And just opposite the metro station is a train station. One cool thing with exchanging messages with you, the viewer, in the chats is that I got to learn that in this area all the houses built around the metro station were built by German prisoners of war after the war in the 1940s. And yeah, if you look at those ones there and then the ones here as well, you can see that, can't you? Because they're, you know, a bit bigger and grander of the ones of the 1920s and 30s, but they certainly, you know, haven't put the blocks in yet that came in the 50s, the Hrushevkas. So it's kind of, you know, in between, isn't it? That's cheap, quick, simple housing. My daughter's come along for the trip as well because she likes new areas, because she gets to go on new adventure playgrounds. So yeah, I mean, the German and Japanese prisoners of war were put to work in the post-war years in the Soviet Union. You know, they had to pay back their debt to society, if you like. And yeah, they built quite a lot of the post-war housing all over the Soviet Union. Actually, it was quite useful labour, especially, of course, you know, the Soviet Union lost tens of millions of men during the war. So, you know, someone had to build all the housing. Of course, all the housing got destroyed in the war as well. So there was a huge housing crisis in the post-war years. In fairness, it wasn't just the German and Japanese prisoners of war that got it tough. Even the Soviet prisoners of war got it tough when they came back, because, you know, they weren't treated very well, because it was considered that they shouldn't have allowed themselves to be taken alive. You know, they should have died in battle instead of just sitting out in a prisoner of war camp. So as usual in St. Petersburg, it just went from sunny to rainy within 3 minutes. Because most people don't take any notice of like the don't cross sign when there's a train about to come. But I mean, I certainly will. And my daughter would do the same. I've mentioned before, haven't I, how St. Petersburg's a really big spread out city. And I mean, you know, in terms of square kilometres, in Europe only Moscow and London is bigger. So when you come to these outer lying areas, it almost feels like you're in a different city in a way. And also, you know, because it's so spread out, just the distance between two metro stations can be pretty far, so there can be quite a lot squeezed in just between the space of two metro stations. So normally this place is packed at the weekends. I mean, packed. There's thousands of traders that come here, and goodness knows how many thousands of people. It's huge. It goes on, it's about almost a kilometre in length, including the market bit at the beginning. It's like the first part's a market, and then it turns into like a flea market. And like I say, they must have seen the weather forecast that it's going to be too many down today, so most people stayed away. I mean, normally you can't move in here. And yeah, I mean, I can easily spend 4 or 5 hours here. So I mean, if you're in Petersburg, you want something to do at the weekend, then, you know, all sorts of junk you can rummage through here. Somebody staying in the dry there, right? Papa's getting soaked, but you're pretty much dry still. I like the 3 big windows there at the front of this one and that one as well. I guess these being on the ends of the commercial ones. So we can see just a little bit further along the more sort of prestigious type of Stalinist building that was being built, probably alongside the cheaper ones. So I guess all the cheaper housing had to sort of subsidise the more grand type of Stalinist architecture was going up at about the same time. So obviously in the more prominent places on the big boulevards and things like that, that's where you got, you know, the big 5-6 story posh Starlinkers, the ones with the high roofs, the ones that everyone liked, the prominent people got, the desirable ones. And then, but also you need to help the masses as well after the war, like I said, big housing crisis. This is the cinema of the region. Now clearly it's been renovated, but presumably it was built up at the same time as the region was. And it's got a curious name as well, Uran, which can mean either Uranus or uranium. Just come inside in the courtyard of one of the blocks there, one of the 5-story blocks I mentioned. There's a little playground for my daughter. Although she's still only 2, she knows every single playground she's ever been to and anyone she hasn't been to. It's actually quite a common sight. It's quite funny where you've got all the old blocks, but then you've got like brand new children's playgrounds. And I mean, I've mentioned before just how many children's playgrounds there are, one in every block. Sometimes you come across the blocks like this with the cream panels, and I like this style. Now that is now a supermarket, but obviously it wasn't when it was built, and quite an interesting building actually as well. Okay, so I think we're done now in the Udelnaya area, and it's kind of got a bit of a rough and ready feel to it, and apart from that big market, I don't think there's anything of interest here, and I guess most people, especially even people that live in St. Petersburg, have probably never been to this area. Now we'll head up to the next area towards the next metro station, and that's a bit different. You'll see the difference there. That's a bit more upmarket. By the way, a big thank you for all of you that got involved in the recent video, giving me plenty of suggestions, advice, encouragement, kind words. Appreciate that. And a big apologies to those that, not many of you, thank goodness, 6 or 7 of you at the most I think, that popped into the live thing I did last weekend, which was a disaster. That didn't work. But you know what, I like the idea of it, you know, the live interaction with you guys. So maybe I can look into doing something similar sometime. Now, YouTube offer a thing called a premiere that is kind of a similar sort of thing. So I might try that at some point over the next few weeks. Look out for that premiere where we can watch together if you're free, and then you can ask any questions about anything you've seen. That's rather quaint, isn't it? That thing less so. There's this long road here connecting the two parts. Now, this is sort of not very interesting, obviously. Although, having said that, I've just come across another little green space, a little wooded area. Today I'm realising that there's a design fault with the human being, because basically we don't have enough hands, do we? We've only got 2 hands, and that's not enough. Imagine if we had 3, it'd be a lot more useful. Because now the problem I've got is I've actually got an umbrella down there, but I can't use the umbrella and record at the same time, because of course I've got one hand pushing the pushchair, so I've got to choose between either the phone or the umbrella, and obviously the phone's higher priority, so just not really using the umbrella much and getting soaking wet. So yeah, what we really need is 3 hands, or 3 arms as well, obviously. Incidentally, viewer Christopher's wife lives down the street just behind me. Is it just me that thinks that the street advertising situation in St. Petersburg, and probably other cities, is getting completely out of control? Just in this one section here, there's about like 6 of them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, in addition to them being a distraction to the drivers, I mean, it sort of does spoil the beauty of the neighbourhood as well, doesn't it? It's just incessive, aggressive advertising. Now, this city, of course, used to be called Leningrad. It's Lenin's city. Now, he wasn't born here, but, he's associated with Lenin. Took his name, and I mean, he'd be turning in his grave now, wouldn't he? Seeing all this. And that's one reason I love collecting old Soviet postcards. Because you just see the streets without all these advertising signs. They're spoiled, the view everywhere. Look, sorry if I'm being extra grumpy today. Just blame it on the weather. Now look, just showing an old stick in the mud. Look, there's an advert there that I actually think is quite cool. Look, you see that? It's got like a 3D fire actually sticking out. That's the Ozerki metro station, and from the outside I really like that. That's really classic Soviet style, isn't it? It really is. Yes, you see in Ozerki you've got a lot more variety of architecture, haven't you? Incidentally, apologies if I'm not pronouncing the place name properly. That often happens when it's a new place name, to get the the emphasis in the wrong place. I'm calling it Ozerki. I bet you it's probably something more like Ozerki or even Ozerki. I bet you I'm saying it wrong, but most of you probably won't know, so that's fine. Now, Ozerki means lakes, and yeah, St. Petersburg, although it may be famous for its canals, it's actually got 3 lakes here. Now, like I alluded to a second ago, I think that Ozerki is definitely a more prestigious area and a more nicer place to live than Udelnaya. Much less crowded, much cleaner, and like I say, huge open space here as well. I mean, great if you've got a family, I'd have thought. And this is one of the 3 lakes. Got a nice sandy beach as well. Yeah, it's really nice here. Shame I don't live sort of here. I'd be here all the time. My daughter, she loves running around here. Yeah, on a sunny day, I thought this is a really popular hangout spot. Surprise, surprise. Someone's heading towards the slides. Oops, fail! So the region is called Lakes, and I think, yeah, the lakes is basically the highlight of the region, and to be honest, there's probably not much else apart from this, so yeah, I think I can probably let you go now. Catch you next time.